Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. It is going to be pretty unsettled through this weekend and it's going to be cold as well, especially for the early parts of next week. So luckily it will be a little bit drier into the early part of next week for many areas, especially further southwards and eastwards, but it will be cold with temperatures struggling to get into double digits for the daytime peaks, so 8 or 9 degrees widely through Monday and Tuesday. Really cold for the time of year. Now, fortunately, as we'll see on the GFS, GM, ECMWF and the ensembles, those temperatures will rise later in the week, probably from around Thursday, Friday onwards. So the second half of the week, we'll see temperatures back towards average for the time of year, if not slightly above average, with higher pressure building in. So we might actually end next week into the weekend with some sunnier, warmer weather. But at this stage, it still is a little bit too far away to say that with a lot of certainty. But yes, over the next sort of 5, 6 and probably next 7 days, it's going to be pretty unsettled, at least initially, and it's going to be pretty cold with temperatures really struggling for most of the next week. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So, if we do start on the live radar at the moment, you can see at the moment we've got a lot of rain around through England and Wales. This is because that upper trough that we've been highlighting that's been forecasted to move in from the east has now moved in and is kind of just sat over the top of us. Its weather front sort of petered out over the course of this morning, and we now just got a lot of showers and some potentially quite heavy showers breaking out through the rest of the afternoon. Now, we did expect to see more heavier showers than we've got at the moment, and I think the reason why we haven't seen more heavy showers form as of yet, as of around 3 p.m, is because we've got a lot more cloud. Now, that cloud is also keeping those temperatures down, so for many parts of the Midlands, central southern England, it is cold, and especially into the southwest as well. We've still got some lingering frontal rainfall. It is chilly out there, temperatures around 8 or 9 degrees, feeling more like 5 or 6. Very cold for the end of April. Now, further northwards and westwards, it's much brighter with a bit of sunshine, and it's warmer as well. Of course, that sunshine coming out, temperatures most likely back into the mid-teens too. So best conditions are really across parts of Northern Ireland and parts of Western Scotland, where again 17, 18 degrees isn't off the cards for the rest of the afternoon. Now, if you put on the temperatures, as I said, around 3 p.m, you can see how cold it is through England and Wales, much warmer further northwards. So yeah, if we start in Scotland, again, Western Scotland's best. Orange is appearing there, so that's sort of mid to high teens. Elsewhere, probably more towards mid to low teens. Same for Northern Ireland and northern parts of the Republic of Ireland. The far south, though, starting to get impacted by the upper trough and the colder air mass, so giving slightly cooler conditions there with a bit of cloud and rain probably mixing in through the rest of today. And you can see for most areas of England and Wales, it is chilly. Again, the coldest conditions through central southern England into the southwest and parts of Wales, where we've got the thickest cloud and the heaviest rain, and of course parts of the higher ground of northern England to the northeast as well. Sort of a slither through the northwest across parts of the Midlands. Temperatures are recovering to perhaps sort of 12 or 13 degrees here. Again, did see the weather front move through earlier, but probably got a bit more sunshine now and not the coldest air, which is sitting further southwards. So it is slightly milder there, but still average to below average for the time of year. Now, the temperatures may recover slightly through the weekend into the double digits for these areas that are very cold today, and that's simply because we see a bit of sunshine and less cloud and rain. The air mass doesn't get particularly warm, but as we head into next week, as I said, the air mass will plunge with proper Arctic air moving in, as we'll see in a minute on the UKV. So, if we do have a look at the UKV now, if we look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days or so, you can see that weather front that moved in earlier today, giving frontal rainfall, but it's now clearing as of this afternoon. As you can see, there are quite a few heavy thundery showers appearing here on the UKV, but we haven't seen the outbreaks of sunshine through many of those central and southern areas that the UKV has predicted. So a lot lighter rain, but cooler temperatures. Through the rest of the afternoon, those heavy thundery showers may build, as we do see maybe some breaks of sunshine, and they'll eventually peter out later this evening, and we should see generally dry conditions to the far south, but we could see another area of frontal rainfall, a bit of an occluded front moving into parts of northern England there. Again, could give some heavier rain overnight, and into the morning of tomorrow, we see more of that rain spiralling in through Northern Ireland, Northern England and the Republic of Ireland. So again, these areas here might have been a little bit better today, with temperatures in the mid-teens, a bit of sunshine, but downhill through tomorrow. Areas further south, across parts of central and southern England, perhaps some showers spreading in through the latter part of the afternoon, but quite a bit drier, but still thicker cloud which will hold those temperatures back. You can see here the picture is just getting slightly more unsettled by the day, and that's because low pressure is forming over the top of us before it drifts out into the North Sea through Monday. So if you do watch, the low pressure can continue to spiral out on Saturday. It will give more bouts of heavy rain through the evening and overnight into Sunday, maybe even some thundery rain there in the south and southeast. And then finally into Sunday afternoon, you can see some snow starting to appear in Scotland as that very cold air mass starts to get wrapped around into the forming low, and eventually the low is starting to pull out into the North Sea by Sunday afternoon, and we're opening the floodgates to Arctic air. So still a lot of showers around. It will be turning drier though over the coming days as that drier air mass moves in and the low moves away. But initially through Sunday it's going to be cold and it's going to be pretty unsettled out there. Again, no walls of rain, no big weather fronts. It will be on and off, but if you are trapped under the rain and cloud, it will feel really cold out there. Beyond that, as we head into Monday, as I said, it will turn drier through the afternoon on Monday. There are showers around, especially towards northern coasts, but the showers inland will be lighter and they should fizzle away by the afternoon, as we do have drier air moving in. Much colder, but drier air with the wintry showers in the north. So if you are towards northern coast, even into parts of England, maybe Northern Ireland and Wales, you can see some snow here if we see those showers move in. Even areas to lower elevation could see some falling snow simply because of how cold and dry the air is. Beyond that, as we spread into Tuesday, you can see the rain and snow showers do decrease inland to almost nothing, and you can see the showers further northwards do confine themselves really to coastal areas, and by Tuesday afternoon we're starting to see the milder air nudge in from the southwest. Again, this could build thicker cloud in, also introducing slightly milder air in the far southwest, so it could bring slight rises in temperatures there, but elsewhere it's going to be dry, but it is going to be really chilly. And eventually into Wednesday, still probably will be quite a cold day, but the weather front approaching, going to be cloud and rain. Again, continuation of those colder conditions, but eventually when that rain and cloud clears, we see a bit of sunshine behind the weather front. We'll be back into generally average air masses as warmer air does move in. So do have a look at the upper air temperatures at the moment. You can see the cold air mass in at the moment. Again, -2, -3 degrees at 850 HPA. Pretty chilly within that upper trough. It will continue to dominate through the rest of today and probably into tomorrow as well. We'll still see this continuation of generally colder air for most of the weekend through England and Wales, for eventually the low that forms within this collision of air masses from milder air up in France and the colder air in the UK will move out into the North Sea and drag in very cold air for the second half of Sunday in the north and for all areas into Monday and into Tuesday as well, perhaps peaking at -10 degrees at 850 HPA in Scotland. Again, cold enough in winter time to giving widespread ice days, but as I said, it's towards the end of April, so things won't be that cold, but they will be very chilly for the time of year. And then eventually into Wednesday, you can see milder air starting to appear from the southwest, but initially through Wednesday, it will continue to be pretty cold, simply because that under the cloud and the rain, it will keep those very cold temperatures at the surface, for eventually the very warm air to our southwest approaching will break through, and we'll see something a bit warmer and drier, perhaps for the end of the week. But we will just have to see exactly how that does play out. But it could go from somewhere like 7 or 8 degrees widey as the top temperature on Monday to something like 18 degrees as the widespread top temperature by Thursday or Friday. So big temperature changes could be coming next week, starting very cold, perhaps ending the week milder or even warmer, but it is too far away to say for certain at this stage. Again, if we look at the max temperatures, again, you can see today wherever we've got the cloud and the rain, it is cold. Max temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees, where we've got a bit more sunshine through parts of the Midlands and East Anglia, 10 to 13, and of course parts of Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and Scotland, maybe 16 to 18 degrees, where we have a bit more sunshine. Overnight tonight, temperatures will be still pretty chilly in places, perhaps touching on freezing in the south. And then as we head into tomorrow afternoon, again, temperatures still relatively chilly under cloud and rain, but because we have less frontal rainfall, perhaps 13 or 14 peaking across parts of the Midlands. And then into Sunday, it will be another chilly day generally into the afternoon. Again, temperatures could peak around that 12 to 14 degree mark, but again, showers and cloud will change that quite significantly. You can see into the north, now the air is really starting to cool down. Many areas in Scotland, mid to low single digits, and north of England struggling into double digits. And that's just signs of what's coming for Monday and Tuesday. Overnight into the early hours of Monday, it is cold out there, mid to low single digits widely overnight, and into the afternoon, many areas not getting much above 7 to 9 degrees. Anywhere with elevation, more towards sort of 4 or 5 degrees, and some parts of Scotland struggling around freezing. The far south and southwest coastal areas could see 10 to 12, but once again, that is pretty chilly, below average for the time of year, just not quite as cold as areas further inland. Sea breezes mixing the air a little bit, and of course being furthest away from the cold air means it has time to warm up a little bit. So of course the south is always going to be slightly milder than the north, but here it is widely pretty cold. As we enter Tuesday, likely to see quite a widespread frost for anywhere sort of M4 line northwards. Again, the far south in slightly milder air, as we saw from the upper air temperatures a couple of minutes ago. So it's not going to be quite as cold, but widely down towards freezing through most of the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and as I said, M4 line northwards. So that's the line heading from London all the way to sort of towards Bristol there. So that's that line there northwards. Anywhere there will be around or below freezing. As we head into Tuesday, still pretty chilly out there, but temperatures starting to recover a little bit, perhaps 9 to 11 degrees, so slightly milder than Monday, but still cold, still a good 3, 4, 5 degrees below average for areas in the south here and further northwards, perhaps even more. And eventually, as we head into Wednesday, quite a chilly morning, but of course with thicker cloud moving in, temperatures won't drop away as much, but across Scotland and North England it will, down to freezing or below that. And again, I must emphasise, even though on Wednesday the upper air temperatures might increase, at the surface it still will probably be quite a cold day, perhaps even colder than Tuesday, even with the warmer upper air temperatures, simply because that cold air is trapped towards the surface with that cloud and rain. So yeah, a really cold first 2, if not 3 days coming at the start of next week before things do start to look a bit brighter. So do now have a look at the GFS and see how that does compare for the longer range over the course of the next couple of weeks. You can see the upper trough at the moment with the easterly winds. Eventually a northerly flow comes in early next week. That's the really cold air moving in. And then eventually high pressure does topple in from around Thursday, Friday time, eventually when that small low pressure system moves in with its weather fronts. Beyond that, into the weekend, we do have high pressure building in into a generally warmer air mass. So it could be quite pleasant next weekend, maybe touching on the mid to high teens or even 20 degrees in some spots. So huge contrast to earlier in the week. And eventually in the longer range, we continue to see higher pressure dominate, but another sort of easterly flow pattern appearing here into the first week of April. Again, not anywhere near as cold, because simply, 2 weeks later, the air masses across Europe have warmed up hugely, but still not ideal. Still would have areas of rain, cloud, and probably chillier easterly flow, as the North Sea is still relatively cool. But you can see by the end of this week, into the start, or end of this upcoming week, into the weekend, upper temperatures perhaps up towards 10 degrees at 850 HPA by the sort of Monday Monday after that. So yeah, could be turning quite mild, or if not warm after that. But as I said, initially next week it's going to be cold again. You look at the raw upper air temperatures there. The temperature deviation a good 8 to 10 degrees below average for many areas, and the potential equivalent temperature just showing you how cold that air will be. Now, if you do have a look at the GM now, see how that does compare over the coming days. Again, easterly wind at the moment with the upper trough, very unsettled and chilly before the proper cold air moves in for Monday, Tuesday, likely lasting into Wednesday too, before eventually we do see a slight warm-up. Not as high pressure dominated here towards the next weekend for the last few days of April, so perhaps not quite as dry towards the end of next week, but equally it is warmer with the upper air temperatures coming in from the southwest, so it will be a little bit more pleasant there. So we'll cut off any of those colder conditions that we were seeing earlier in the week. And if finally we look at the ECMWF, again, easterly flow at the moment, cold and unsettled conditions prevailing for the next sort of 3 to 5 days at least, for eventually milder air moves in from the southwest, and higher pressure does prevail towards the end of next working week. So it will turn milder and probably drier too, but still bit of uncertainty exactly how that does play out, as we do have some sort of little low pressure systems that could mix in there and halt that build of pressure. Regardless, though, it does look like it will trend back towards average, if not above average, from around Thursday, Friday next week onwards. So should be a little bit warmer, at least if you've got plans for the end of next week. So if you do finally, just looking at the ensembles now, again you can see the latest GFS, it is cold over the next sort of 2 or 3 days, around a degree or two below average, and then we see that big dip down to -5 at 850 HPA, about 7 or 8 degrees below average for London, even more further northwards. And then as we head into the last few days of April, i.e. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week, temperatures will be rising back towards average slowly across maybe a 48-hour period, and then a couple of degrees above average for the foreseeable future, all the way into early May. So again, turning warmer, and a lot better than what we'll be seeing early next week. Now, as I said, you can see the precipitation along the bottom is unsettled the next sort of 5 to 7 days, but there is a lot of uncertainty as we head towards the last couple of days of April into the first few days of May. There are some precipitation spikes here, but it's not overwhelming, so I definitely think there's a bit of a splitting on some members about the exact pressure pattern. That's why I say we still have to keep an eye on what is happening with that, as that will give, will decide how warm it does get end of next week, whether it's sort of 19, 20 degrees with sunshine, or more towards sort of 14, 15 degrees with cloud and rain. And you can look at the 2 metre temperatures, you can see how it's going to be cold next week, sort of 9 or 10 degree tops, if not colder, for the end of next working week, into the weekend, perhaps back, as I said, into the mid to high teens. And if we do finally just compare it to the ECMWF, which is very, very similar, again, cool over the next sort of 3 days, very cold early next week, for returning back towards average into the weekend and start of the following week into early May. So yeah, quite cold end of April coming here, but it is looking likely for the last couple of days and the start of May to respond back towards average, but we are uncertain on the exact pressure patterns. But make sure you do wrap up warm the next sort of 5 or 7 days. It's going to be very cold in the south, and in the north it's going to be even colder than that. Look at the east in the WF for the north, down towards sort of -7, -8 degrees at 850 HPA, potentially as much as 10 degrees below average in some areas. And that warm up in the north will be slower as well, with that line getting towards average really only towards the start of May. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you do stay warm out there over the next sort of 5 to 7 days. It is going to be chilly, it's going to be miserable, and you're going to need hat gloves if you're out, especially early in the morning and whenever we do have some of this rain and gloom and cloud around. But hopefully we do see something a little bit warmer, and this is the sort of final cooler spell that we do have before we head into the end of spring and eventually the start of summer. So as I said, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.